Some of the analysts have suggested that the Myriad patent position on their breast cancer diagnostic was not that strong. What's your take?
Well, I disagree. Their first patent, you know, the first time their IP could come into question is maybe 2018, and you could argue 2023 with some of the continuations that they filed. I'm not a patent attorney, but the bottom line is I think the patent situation is fairly strong with Myriad. That's not the only source of their competitive advantage, though. IP is not the only reason they're going to remain the leader with regard to their current products. The other reason is because of the value of their database. They have been conducting very sophisticated sequencing for many, many years, and they have identified mutations that no one else know about in breast cancer patients and colon cancer patients and other skin cancer, for example. In addition, and probably the strong form of the thesis, they have the best commercial infrastructure out there. They have 150 folks on the street selling high-value molecular diagnostics to oncologists. They have another approximate 100 people on the street selling to OBGYNs. The sale of a high-value molecular diagnostic is different but similar to that of a drug, but it's definitely very different than an in vitro diagnostic. It's a data-driven consultative sale, and they have a commercial infrastructure that no one can match.
So we've spoken about the split of the drug development business and molecular diagnostics. So is this split really the way to unlock further value in Myriad Genetics, and when do you see that happening?
Yeah, I believe it is a way to unlock shareholder value. Daniel, I believe that the stock would trade higher as a pure play because of its scarcity value. It's something we suggested the potential for it to be acquired by a larger diagnostics interested party. So in addition, because they won't be spending money on drug development, it'll be clearer to investors that they're generating a lot of cash and earnings. And folks that have a mandate to own only profitable stocks, especially mid-cap investors, have a paucity of alternatives in biotech. There's just not a long list of profitable mid-cap growing names. And so I think the split would uncap shareholder value. I also believe then as well the drug development business can trade on its own merits as well.
Myriad has $420 million in cash. So we're talking about, Myriad could be acquired by a bigger player, but in the meantime, do you believe that Myriad may look at acquisitions?
Yeah, I do. So right now, as of yesterday, they reported their fiscal fourth quarter earnings for 2008, and they ended the quarter with $420 million in cash. They're generating a fair amount of cash each quarter. So we believe that once the split actually got executed, perhaps by the end of the fiscal year 2009 or in the first half of next calendar year, they'll have roughly $500 million in cash. We think they could afford then to spin off the drug business with $250, keep $250 themselves. Again, they're spinning off cash. So I think then at that point they'll have enough firepower to, first of all, step on the accelerator with regard to their own product development for high-value molecular diagnostics. But also, more importantly, they could become much more acquisitive. We expect possibly companies, maybe just products, but they'll grow through both organic and acquisitive means.
You've been a bull against most of the other analysts being bearish on Myriad, particularly with the failure of the phase 3 Alzheimer's drug. What's your price target today?
So it turns out that today we raised our price target to 87. We had been for a long time been carrying a $75 price target. But today we incorporated the standalone model as our valuation methodology. And we assume a 30 times fiscal 2010 earnings of roughly $3. I think it's $2.91 in our model. and that gets you to, you know, $87, $90. I think that can happen in the next 12 months.
Well, thanks, Charles, for your insights again.
Thank you, Daniel, for having me.
And we'll be watching Myriad Genetics.
Keep an eye on it. Thanks.